In today's video, we're gonna go over some creepy TikTok conspiracies. Let's get into it.
Cynocephaly is a mythical trait where a person has the head of a dog or jackal. The word literally means dog-headedness, implying a human body with a dog's head. This mythological concept appears in stories and legends from various cultures, including ancient Egypt, India, Greece, and China. But the Michigan Dogman was a creature allegedly seen in 1887 by two lumberjacks. It was described as a 7-foot-tall bipedal creature with canine-like features, blue or amber eyes, the torso of a man, and a terrifying howl that sounds like a human scream. According to legends, the Michigan Dogman appears every 10 years, specifically in years ending in 7, so 2027. Sightings mostly happen in the northwestern part of Michigan's Lower Peninsula. Believers say that clapping can scare the Dogman away. In 1937, in Paris, Michigan, Robert Fortney claimed he was attacked by 5 wild dogs, and one of them walked on 2 legs. Other similar sightings have been reported throughout the years. In Wisconsin, the Beast of Bray Road is the name given to a wolf-like creature that has been reported near Elkhorn, Walworth County. It is also described as a 6 to 7 foot tall creature with a humanoid body covered in fur, a wolf-like head, and large glowing red or orange eyes.
Hey, these sightings are where I'm from. And to be honest, I've never heard of the Dogman being sighted in Michigan before, so that's a new one to me. Could you imagine telling your friends after you've been mauled by a bunch of animals that one of them was walking up like a human? I would probably just think that one of my friends got mugged by a group of people. Have any of you heard of the Michigan Dogman? And if you have you ever seen it?
This could be the most haunted place in all of Missouri, and I have proof. A few days ago, I shared with you a picture from the Brooks Estate, which is in Mississippi County, Missouri. It was a picture of a cowboy-looking ghost just in front of this place. The owner has sent me a lot more evidence and footage. He says this place is just a paranormal mecca. People come by here all the time just hoping they can get a glance of something in a window or around the property, and they actually caught something this time. So there were a couple girls who were stopping by just like all kinds of people do, snapping pictures, hoping to catch something. And they got scared and just taking pictures, but I want to zoom in just a moment. But right up here in this upstairs window, there's something otherworldly standing there. I'm also going to show you some more security footage from the upstairs of just all kinds of craziness with the lights going on and off, all kinds of chaos, but you guys check this out. Here I've just lightened the picture a little bit. You can see like the silhouette of something up there. I want to zoom in more for you, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the silhouette. Here I've completely zoomed in and you can clearly make out this tall figure. You can make out its face. It looks like it's turned, kind of looking to the side. And the owner even pointed out to me there almost appears to be what could be a couple little horns sticking out the top of its head.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that place exists, but that definitely was just a regular human walking past the camera that had the cowboy hat on, and I'm not sure what that was in the window, but I don't think it was a ghost. But to a person that thinks a place is haunted, that could have possibly been a ghost to them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
This myth of this ancient city in India called Dwarka. Supposedly this city was just highly technologically advanced. It says there was 900,000 royal palaces made from crystal and silver. And like the whole interior was like gold and gems and like just this immaculate giant city, right?
Yeah.
But there was another rival city that tried to take over, and it says that there was a war that happened between them. It said this one city had ships that sailed in the air and that they would shoot lightning down onto the city to try to destroy it. And then the people of Dwarka said that they were shooting lightning back. And then shortly after this war, the whole place was flooded and lost forever.
Bro.
So they thought.
They found it?
Said that it was built off of 6 stones.
Yeah.
They described them in such a, like, these 6 stones that fit the description perfectly.
Awesome.
They found like coins that they carbon dated like over 11,000 years ago. And like all this crazy architecture that they're just pulling up. Like they're like starting to discover more and more the deeper they dug into the ocean. India basically is like, no more.
Oh.
Like we're done looking at it. Basically cut all funding and like.
Well, maybe it just became too expensive.
I wonder why they actually did cut the funding out. Unless there's something down there that they're unearthing that just the governments don't want you to unearth. I don't really see why we would stop funding it unless, like that lady said, it was just too expensive, but we spend and waste money on a lot of other things in the world. I doubt that that would be the case.
Breaking news all around the world. If you don't know what's going on, you are going to want to watch this, trust me. Make sure you share this video with a friend, because if they miss this, well, it's literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so you won't see it again. And for that matter of fact, neither will your grandkids or great-great-grandkids, most likely. So, in the movies, you see photos like this, which looks like a break in time and space, and it's incredible. I mean, it's like a wormhole opening. You wouldn't ever see that on Earth, right? Well, normally, no, but this is actually a supernova explosion, which is pretty damn rare, and it's happening soon, but not like a normal one. What do you mean? So, supernova explosions happen roughly every 80 to 90 years, so still, even that's rare. But they typically aren't visible to the naked eye. You'll need some kind of telescope or to look very, very deeply into the distance, and it's not going to be clear. Now, the last time we saw one was 1987, and the time before that, when it was actually visible to the naked eye, was 1604. Are you mad? Now, they are saying this is literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because, as I say, it is just that rare. You are never going to get another chance like this again. Like, look, this is what they said. Typically, novas are so faint and far away, you can't even see them. But this one will be really, really close, and everybody from on Earth will be able to see it if you look up. And yeah, it will literally look like space is breaking or it's a Fortnite event. So yeah. Now, we don't know exactly when it's happening. They said anywhere from now until September, but in breaking news in the last couple of days, they've said it's going to be visible in the next few days or weeks. So a lot sooner than we actually expected. Make sure you hit that follow button. I will keep you updated.
Very interesting. If this is real, I want to see it. I hope I get a chance to actually see it. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of videos online talking about it, theorizing about it, things like that, but I am interested in it, especially if it's a once-in-a-lifetime event. And there's a comment in this video that really sums it up very well because it's pretty true. It says, "I swear, every day there's some space event that happens once in a lifetime."
This doesn't explain that, and investigators are getting mocked for speaking out about it. Drill cores like these have been found all around ancient Egypt, which was the leftover piece that would be thrown away by Egyptian builders after a hole was drilled into granite. Now, modern explanations use a bow drill made from a copper tube to demonstrate how these holes were drilled. And they work. Myth busted. We can move on, right? Not even close. First of all, yes, there are several hieroglyphs that supposedly demonstrate the use of these alleged drills, typically using them on tables, not granite slabs. Yet, not a single copper tube drill artifact has ever been recovered from Egypt, like ever. They made these holes all the time. Shouldn't these copper tube drills kind of be everywhere? Counter argument is that copper was so valuable that they likely smelted it down for other uses. Every single last one of them. How convenient. But that's nothing compared to the machining marks found on this drill core. The infamous Petrie's core number 7, found by Sir Flinders Petrie. And of course, the common Google debunker can search this up and find countless sources that irrefutably debunk this myth. But for those that can think for themselves, a little digging shows that something just doesn't make sense about this. Analyzing the core and wrapping a string of cotton around the grooves showed the drill marks produced a continuous spiral down the entire core, which the bow drill method doesn't do, but rather horizontal lines that look nothing like the authentic Egyptian cores. It doesn't end there. Analysis confirmed by fringe theorists like aerospace engineer Christopher Dunn, who worked with machining tools his entire life, suggested that after studying the spacing of the drill marks on this core, that the penetration rate of whatever method the ancient Egyptian used to drill this core must have been 500 times greater than our diamond drills today. His words, his conclusion. He obviously must be crazy. Now, that doesn't mean the drilling method was faster back then than it is today. It just means that, according to his calculations, these ancient drills had a greater vertical penetration for every rotation of the drill than today's technology. This clearly evil fringe analysis explains how the grooves on the drill core indicate a 0.1 inch of vertical penetration for every rotation of the drill head, whereas modern diamond drills with a 900 RPM achieve about 0.0002 inches of penetration per rotation, 500 times less than the ancient method. It could have very well been, and probably was, slower with whatever drilling technique they were using back then, but this level of penetration is mathematically not possible with today's diamond drills, and clearly not with the bow drill. Now listen, I'm not saying they used lasers or advanced high-tech drills or anything like that. I'm also not fully dismissing it, but it seems so obvious to me and several other questioners that something was used here that they're just refusing to even acknowledge. Just like the scoop marks they found around the unfinished mega obelisk at Aswan, which looks like they literally scooped granite directly out of the quarry. The explanation? Pounding stones, banging other rocks against it, for which they haven't been able to replicate but still stand by. Or maybe the ancients had some sort of forgotten method to soften hard stone, making it malleable and easy to work with that we're just unaware of. Okay, that's enough for now, because this This is a rabbit hole that I don't think anyone's ready for.
A month or so ago, I had a comment on one of my videos about that stone that has the spiral marks on it. They brought up a really good point. What if that was old technology that recorded data? For example, you take a vinyl record and you put the needle on the vinyl record, it can play music. What if it's the same principle for a stone like that? We just don't have the technology to read that stone, you know? And that comment really stuck with me because it is a really interesting theory, one that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. Whether that's the case or not, I'm not sure, but it is a really fun one and an extremely interesting one to think about. And as far as the stones being carved out and those ones that look like handprints scooped out of the stone, that's extremely interesting to me. And it makes me wonder if we're talking about ancient civilizations having the power to control frequencies. What if there was a platform or they knew how to control the frequencies in their body where it made the rock malleable like that? That's an interesting theory also. It's really mind-boggling to me that we cannot figure this stuff out. We've had so many years to figure this out and we're still scratching our heads about it. Hey, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. I only ask once per video and I make a video like this almost every day. And currently we're at 11,332 subscribers. And to everyone that's subscribed and or watching, thank you for being subscribed and thank you for watching.
Let's talk about aliens. They're here, they're alive, blah, blah, blah. We're not alone. And then you have this terrifying thing of them talking about AI. It's like, could they not make an alien, stage a fake alien invasion? They're using AI technology within these beings. That would be very convincing. They're going to do something with AI.
It would have to be something like life outside of humanity that would shake so many people up.
And that's what Stephen Greer, he's so eager to expose it all to where, because he said they're going to stage a fake alien invasion.
He said that?
Yeah, it's going to happen, and it's going to be the most convincing thing ever. This underground, terrible government, they're going to have control, basically.
I've seen all the stuff about like meat in grocery stores not being real meat, being farm-grown meat. If you combine AI with the ability to grow your own muscle.
That's what I'm saying. Like making biological things.
You've seen the 3D printing meat, right? Dude, that's so gross.
So what I'm saying is like you combine artificial intelligence with the fact that we are able to create biological matter.
Oh no.
We are slowly, I can't even say slowly, we are rapidly getting to a point where androids are going to be a part of our daily lives. I think within the next 2 to 3 years, we are not going to have a society where androids are not accepted. There's going to literally be androids walking alongside people on the streets. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be fully intelligent. They're still going to be basically server bots, but still, it's going to get to that point where they are hyper intelligent, where we are putting synthetic skin on them to the point where we are making them a living creature. And I do wonder if that's the ultimate goal, to make something so lifelike that the government can fool us into thinking extraterrestrials are coming or interdimensional species, things like that. I really do think that there is an ultimate plan to fool us in that regards. Now, I don't know if that's going to mean world domination or if a war is going to break out, but what if it's not about war? What if it's about religion? What if someone creates an android that can fly, that can move things with its mind by frequency or magnetic pull, and it comes down from the sky and we think that it's some kind of holy spirit? It would not surprise me if the government is working on something like that. They do have Project Bluebeam, but I don't know if they're going for the offense of attacking people and making people fight alongside each other against this entity. I think that they're going to create an entity for people to worship. My mind goes a million miles an hour on this topic, so I could really rant a long time about this, so I'm not gonna do that here. But leave a comment down below on your thoughts about living androids, your thoughts about Project Bluebeam. Do you think that they could create a godlike android that people would actually worship because they know no better? Let me know in the comments.
Tunnels scare the bejesus out of me.
Same. You know, there's that tunnel in New York to where you go under the Hudson River.
Oh, no, I didn't know they had
Yeah,
one.
I went through that and I was so scared. I'm like, we're under a river right now. It's like, I feel like you shouldn't do this.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
Do you remember when your mom would be like, don't dig too deep of a hole because it could collapse on you?
Yeah.
But we did that, and people drive under it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Channel Tunnel?
Oh, yeah, to France.
Yeah, it is 31.35 miles.
Under the ocean.
31 miles under the ocean.
Yes. People take it every day.
How is that possible? I mean, I'm dumb. It's like obviously like how bridges get made and stuff like that, but 31 miles is a lot.
I'm just trying to understand how they prevent terror attacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
One car bomb and
You got the ocean coming in on you. Or what if they discovered that tunnel already?
It already existed.
dude,
Yeah.
It's rebrand.
It's weird stuff.
I've been through tunnels going through mountains. I've never been in a tunnel under the ocean. That just sounds extremely freaky to me. If one mistake goes down in that tunnel or an explosion or something, everyone that's in it's probably done for. Unless they have some kind of fail-safe, I'm not sure. If anyone's familiar with it, let me know. I mean, I get it. They're just demonstrating the tech behind keeping it upright and keeping it self-balanced. But one day when this stuff becomes sentient, it's going to look back at all the abuse that we've done to it. And it might take out its aggression on us. And is it weird that I kind of feel bad for the robot?
The mysterious entity that influenced the founding fathers, the Unknown Patriot, or the Unknown Orator, is a legend about an event that took place on July 4th, 1776, during the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This story was popularized by Manly P. Hall's 1944 book, The Secret Destiny of America, in which Hall retells the story of the Unknown Patriot and what happens after he speaks with divine authority. Quote, "The unknown speaker fell exhausted into his seat. The delegates, carried away by his enthusiasm, rushed forward. John Hancock scarcely had time to pen his bold signature before the quill was grasped by another. It was done. The delegates turned to express their gratitude to the unknown speaker. He was not there. Who was this strange man, who seemed to speak with divine authority, whose solemn words gave courage to the doubters and sealed the destiny of the new nation? Unfortunately, no one knows. In all, there is much to indicate that the unknown speaker was one of the agents of the secret order, guarding and directing the destiny of America. This story was so influential, even Ronald Reagan later used the story in his commencement speech in 1957. But where did this story come from? The original story was published in 1847 by George Lippard in his Washington and His Generals, or Legends of the Revolution. Lippard wrote patriotic short stories with a supernatural touch to them, making sure to include real historical figures within them.
I've never heard of this before, so this is a new one to me. This is another reason why having a chronovisor would be an awesome piece of technology to have, so we can actually go back in time and see what really went down. Because was there really someone there talking to these people? Or did all of these people get together and say, you know, we're going to blame this one entity for anything that goes wrong that just doesn't exist? Hey, there's a comment in here that said it was probably Lucifer himself. And I don't doubt that.
You will not believe what was just said regarding the dragon that's been unleashed regarding Hurricane Beryl. Listen to this.
Cancun, and then make a trek to the north, affecting parts of Mexico and southern Texas. We just don't know. And even Louisiana could be in play at this point. A very unpredictable storm this is. The dragon has been released. Back to you, Neil.
And he said the dragon has been released, or it's been unleashed, as you've seen in my caption. And remember how people have been talking about the Leviathan and how you see this dragon-like shape on Google Earth. So could this be part of the dragon that has been released or unleashed? What do you think about this? Crazy stuff is happening.
I don't know about that formation in the ocean. To me, that just looks like regular land formation. If it moved and it was stretching across the world, I would be a believer. How could you not be? But it's just been there this whole time. Plus, they have not blocked out the imagery or blurred out the imagery just like they do with every other thing that's been discovered on Google Earth. So I just believe that this is just some kind of formation under the water. It's not a creature of any kind. And also, for anyone that's going to be impacted by Hurricane Beryl, I really wish and hope the best for you. Please stay as safe as possible because it could be very nasty.
Why does this work? You put some water in a Ziploc bag and then you drop a penny in the bag, and when you're getting ready to have an outdoor event, just place it throughout your yard and it keeps the flies at a minimum. Not sure why it works. My neighbor told me about it. I've been doing it ever since. Hey, help me out. You scientists, why does this work?
I have personally never tried this method before. I have always been kind of curious about it. I know a long time ago when I went to this Chinese restaurant or a Chinese buffet, they actually had baggies full of water and pennies inside of them across the whole restaurant. And I asked them why they had baggies of water and pennies, and they told me it was to keep the flies away. And if I can recall, I didn't see any flies in the restaurant, so I don't know if it truly works or not. Let me know in the comments if you believe this method, because if it works, I might have to try this during cookouts.
Remember those mysterious monoliths that appeared a couple years ago? Well, there's a new one. This one is covered in a bunch of strange symbols and it was just found on the sand dunes on the coast of Australia. This all started in late 2020 when monoliths mysteriously started appearing all around the world. First there was one in Utah, then Romania, and even one in Las Vegas. A couple of weeks ago there's one found in Wales by a hiker on his morning walk, but the most recent one we have eyes on is this one in Australia. This 10-foot monolith, unlike its brothers and sisters, is covered in weird symbols top to bottom. The symbols seem to be lasered on, and officials say how it got there is still a mystery.
Well, to anybody that's watching this in Australia, have you visited this monolith? I really like these monoliths. I think they're extremely cool looking. Now, I personally do not believe them to be extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or birthed from the Earth. I do think that these are just art pieces that people think are really cool and they just go around placing in random spots. I could be completely wrong on this, but that's just how I truly think it is. Someone in my comments not long ago saying that these monoliths are actually birthed from the Earth and it helps emit a frequency to heal the Earth, and I think that's a really cool theory. I just highly doubt that being the case. Let me know your thoughts, your theories about these monoliths. Have you seen any of them with your own eyes? I have personally never seen one with my own eyes. I would love to though. That would be really cool.
Oh shit. I'm here.
Wow, a guy literally had to walk through the back rooms just to get to his little room.
There is a thing about a guy who used to work in the Navy in the 70s.
Uh-oh.
They place an acoustic sensor device all throughout the ocean floor in the certain areas. This was to map the ocean floor, detect submarines, and find other anomalies and stuff. The technology covers a large portion of the ocean floor and has given the Navy an amazing perspective of their underwater terrain. And then it says one of the contacts while in the Navy who worked on the ASW team who was responsible for monitoring the sensors and everything. They would discuss underwater submersible objects that detected that would travel at thousands of miles per hour underwater.
What are you talking?
He said they also have detected various structures underwater that are active and that they stay clear of. And so those might be like volcanoes or whatever,
Okay, yeah.
but they're detecting actual anomalies.
That was in the 70s? They were tracking this stuff?
When they place the sensor devices in on the ocean floor.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
So,
you know how you get stoked about space?
Yeah.
I get stoked about the ocean.
Dude, the ocean freaks me out way more than space.
And it makes me wonder, like, because they always say, like, 95% of the ocean isn't discovered. But it's like, is there a reason for that? Or is it kind of like, we get it?
I also find ocean exploration extremely awesome. I like it a lot more than space exploration. And it would not surprise me at all if we've had technology in the ocean even further past in the 70s. they've probably been mapping out the ocean for a long time to the point where they understand what's there and they try to keep people away from it. Whether it's ancient civilizations, active volcanoes, or creatures beyond our nightmares. And I have always questioned, even as a kid, why we haven't explored all of the ocean, or at least most of it, before we even went to outer space. I've always said that if we could master ocean exploration to the point where we can explore all of the ocean with no problem, then we should have no problem exploring space. But that's probably why I'm not a scientist.
Always listen to your animals. They truly have that sixth sense, the awareness. They can see sometimes in between the veil in places where we can't see, the supernatural world. Well, take a look at this witness's dog. Something set him off, and it looks like it terrified him. Whatever it was standing over in front of the chest of drawers. And by the looks and the agitation of his dog, it wasn't something good. Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
I'm not gonna lie, the ending of that video was really suspenseful. I didn't know if there was gonna be a jump scare, if this was a fake video or what have you. You can definitely tell that dog is shaken. There's something there scaring it. I do believe that animals or dogs, they can see past a certain veil that we cannot, and that dog was definitely seeing something.
If this is in your home, please do not kill it. Fun facts ahead! I promise! The internet is talking a lot about this thing. At the moment, people are spraying it and typing in all caps, asking what it is. And I get it. It looks horrifying. It looks like a pretzel stick that stole a family's feet and learned to walk. But there are two main reasons why you need to keep it alive. Fun fact number one. First of all, they're called house centipedes. They don't make nests or webs. They don't destroy your stuff. They don't carry diseases. They're harmless. Well, unless you count emotional damage. Fun fact number two! But the main reason why you shouldn't kill them is because they're essentially just pest control. They eat a bunch of flies and termites and silverfish, all the things that you don't like in your house, and you can save some money. That's pretty nice. Wow, that fact was a blast! And look, this is no time to play. It's summer. The bugs are out, and so is my patience. I'm deploying an army of these things, okay? I'm calling it that 50 feet fleet. Yeah, this is my Avengers, dude. Ring the dinner bell!
I'm not gonna lie, even though those are harmless, they are extremely terrifying looking. I've seen them in person, and with that knowledge in my mind, if I ever see those house centipedes in my house, I won't be afraid of the house centipedes. I'll be afraid of why are they in my house and what are they eating. Also, I wonder how well they do against ants, because that's something that we have really bad here in the South. There is no way a single house centipede would be able to take on a colony of ants. We would need hundreds of them.
Why did a secret society at Yale steal Geronimo's remains? Was it because he was magical? Geronimo was a military leader and a medicine man of the Apache people. His skills on the battlefield earned him a reputation of being a fierce warrior and having powers. It was said his opponents would call out to their saints for salvation if they sensed he was near. Some of his followers believed he had supernatural abilities. Witnesses claimed he could predict the future on and off the battlefield. Others said he could heal his tribesmen and even bring the dead back to life. In 1886, Geronimo would surrender and become a prisoner of war. He was actually paraded at the second inauguration of President Theodore Roosevelt. In 1909, he died at Fort Sill Hospital. 6 members of Yale's Skull and Bones, including Prescott Bush, served as Army volunteers at Fort Sill during World War I. In 1986, former San Carlos Apache chairman Ned Anderson received a letter claiming that the secret society Skull and Bones had Geronimo's skull. When confronted, the group's officials denied it. In 2006, Mark Wortman found a 1918 letter suggesting the theft was true, but Skull and Bones attorneys claimed the letter was a hoax. In 2009, Geronimo's descendants sued the Skull and Bones Society over the alleged theft of his skull. No one could answer the question. Where was the skull?
It would not surprise me at all if that organization was utilizing that person's bones or his skull for whatever reason that they needed. It also really makes me wonder on how many other people are out there that were like Geronimo. There's probably a lot of people out there like that, and that the government utilizes for special operations.
Just now, in China, okay, fam, they're putting up blue tarps all over the roofs of their houses. Wait, guess why? So, blue tarps, bro. All over all their houses, they're building it right now. They know something is gonna happen.
Is it gonna be like a big, just storm?
Yo, remember Maui? Oh, you remember the theory?
Yeah.
How it was a laser that caused the fire, but only the stuff that were blue color, the blue colored cars, the blue colored houses were not burnt. Check this video out.
Nah, they're strategic for that. Yo, China's always
They're smart.
onto it.
Yo, check this out. Look.
China knows
something the rest of the world does not know. Look, so they have the blue tarps and just putting all over the houses. Everywhere. On the roofs. Everywhere. Almost, yo, I want to say 80% of the houses are starting to do it.
Holy smokes.
But think about that. Think about that, though.
I have heard of this theory before, and I'm not going to lie. Seems very accurate. All of these photos and videos of places that burnt down, if you look, a lot of the places that are still standing are with blue roofs. It kind of makes me paranoid because I'm about to get a metal roof put on my house, and I'm debating whether or not I want it to be blue. Let me know in the comments, do you believe that blue roofs or the color blue is laser resistant or heat resistant, or it keeps you from being targeted by energy weapons and things like that? It sounds really hard to believe to me, but in a way, I kind of believe it.
This 14-year-old girl just won first place at a national science fair, and her invention could save lives and change the way you drive. How'd she come up with the idea? Elena Gassler knew that her mom, Megan, didn't really like driving the family SUV around town in Chester County, Pennsylvania.
It had a lot of blind spots. It had the common one when you are trying to change lanes and you have to look back over your shoulder to make sure things are okay. It also had this huge passenger side blind spot that made me really nervous pulling up to intersections, worried that it might hit bikers.
The blind spot she's referring to is caused by this car frame.
These blind spots, even though they don't look very big, they can block out entire cars.
So Elena had an idea. She mounted a webcam on the outside of the car, sending back live video of what's being blocked by the blind spot to a projector mounted right above the driver's head.
It was like right about here, and it projected the image onto the blind spot.
Check out this video. No more blind spot.
When people tell me that this could have really saved them a car or it could have saved them an injury, it really touched me.
That is really cool. I see that prize was awarded back in 2019, and since then we've had further tech updates. Right now we have LED panels that can literally be folded, so maybe they'll start integrating that form of technology where they're putting cameras on the outside of vehicles, and they'll have LED panels wrapped around these blind spots, because that really is handy. My vehicle has the worst blind spots ever. It has 4 major blind spots: the front driver, the front passenger, and the 2 back. If I had something like that, that would save me a lot of headache, because I'm telling you, I'm always, when I'm driving, I have to wrap my head almost around the window just to see past the blind spot, and it drives me nuts. So something like this would be a huge lifesaver.
So, last night, right in my neck of the woods, search and rescue was called out to look for what appeared to be a baby that somebody captured on their security camera. Now, they did what I believe any of us would do, I hope, and that is contact the authorities. So they came out, did their investigation, and they came to the conclusion that it was just a glitch. Now, I don't know if I'm buying it, but I have gathered all that I could, and I'm going to show you, and just let me know what you think. Alright, here is the original post. Here's a close-up of the baby. And here is the official report. Some more information with the timestamps. And right here you can tell 1 minute apart there's a baby, and then poof, no baby. As if this isn't spooky enough, it gets even weirder. Her daughter took this picture and it looks just like the baby.
I don't think that this is a fake video or a fake post about this incident. I just truly think that there was some kind of creature that ran past the camera and it just so happened to look like a baby, or there was a baby running past that camera and it just caught a very quick glimpse of it. The last picture where they took the selfie and there was a little face behind the shoulder, I don't really buy that. That was just a blurry photo in my opinion. But you can't deny that that looked like a child there on that camera. I really do want to know what that was. I hope that this was solved and they figured it out.
The U.S. military at Dwarka has literally just developed the very first fighter jet that runs purely on AI and put it into a dogfight. It's a fly-by-wire fighter jet, which means it's on the grid. We're talking about Skynet now, but Skynet with a consciousness. Isn't that the movie Terminator? Didn't we already watch that movie Terminator? We didn't learn anything from the Hollywood movie. It was a documentary. And now we're living it in real time. We gotta be careful. All this tech that we keep getting, way before we are consciously ready to even handle it. We're not spiritually ready to handle a lot of this technology.
I mean, it's kind of like the Terminator, but there's a movie that better resembles it. I think it was called Stealth. I'm not 100% sure, but it was basically about a fighter jet that was AI operated, and it got really out of hand really fast. And I agree with Billy Carson on this. I truly think that we are not spiritually or consciously ready for true artificial intelligence, like actual sentient artificial intelligence that feels like it has a life of its own. I don't think we're ready for that.
Breaking news in the UK, if you don't know what's about to happen, you are gonna want to watch this video, trust me. Make sure you share this video with a friend, a parent, or anybody who drives, because they ain't gonna like this. Now, if you're planning on buying a car anytime soon, especially a new car, I'm sorry. So, only about a week or two ago, we had all this stuff coming out saying they're trying to raise the speed limit to 100 miles an hour on dual carriageways and motorways. But now we've gone the complete opposite direction. From the 7th of July, so tomorrow, every single car in the UK will have to be fitted with a limiter. And yeah, literally it will be impossible to speed because the limiter will stop you. Brilliant! How this will work is if you start speeding a little bit, it will literally just brake for you and not let you break the speed limit. Apparently it's some kind of AI tech which is going to be fitted into the car, and yes, you can override it, but they're saying you're going to get in trouble if you do, so don't. Now, if you already have a car or it's an older car, obviously that's fine. They're not just putting in every single physical car out there. Any cars being made now that are ever going to be made again will have to have this fitted. That will be completely legal. Even new cars in showrooms are being taken back to the garages to have these flipping things installed. Oh my god. But yeah, more 20-mile-an-hour speed limits everywhere, actual limiters in our cars, more ULEZ. Brilliant. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.
Man, almost 10 years ago, I called something like this happening, and if there's any of my old construction buddies watching this, you know who you are. I was literally talking about this to a bunch of friends of mine back in the day, saying that eventually they're going to put computer chips in our cars that read the speed, and it will control how we drive. They will limit our speed. I've called this a long time ago, and everyone was saying, you're crazy, they wouldn't do that, that makes no sense. I can see this happening. I don't agree with it, but I can definitely see this happening. And the worst part of it is even though it controls your speed, if you were to try to break the speed that it's limiting you to, there could be a system where it registers your information to the police department and they can just charge you a ticket for speeding. They don't even have to pull you over. Between this and cars having subscription plans, I've talked about this almost over 10 years ago now. You imagine getting into your car on a really cold winter morning and you have to pay a subscription fee of $10 a month just to be able to use the heating features of your vehicle? I do think that we're getting to that point, and I don't like it.
Moving. How about the one when you smoked Salvia on a podcast and had a 4-month life?
Tripoli's pleasurable thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's one of the craziest videos you can watch.
They made Red Bandit and Tripoli's podcast. I think remember they were like, do Salvia, so I took a big hit, and they were like, that's not big enough, and I was on the brink of disappearing, and then I took a way bigger hit. And I was just gone, completely gone. I was living under the sea for, I think, around 6 months.
What?
Yeah. I made friends. I had a girlfriend or wife, I'm not sure. I had a life down there. A life in about 8 minutes. But really? I had and then I started coming back. And then they're all like, hey, so you fine? You ready to talk? And it was like, no. And then I couldn't breathe the air. Somebody gave me some water. This is for breathing, not drinking. It was that the coming back was so difficult that
So you, wait a minute, you felt like you were under the sea, not even in like a compound?
breathing water.
I forgot that part.
Okay, so I'm about to tell you a crazy experience that I went through during a Salvia trip. I do not do drugs, I do not smoke anything or anything like that now. Back in the past, I was extremely curious about Salvia or mushrooms, even acid. Never tried acid before. I have had mushrooms and I have smoked Salvia. That Salvia trip was the last thing that I've ever done that was drug related, if you will, because it didn't scare me. It was sad. Very similar to this person's experience. I had one very similar, and it makes me sad to even think about it today. But to keep a long story short, I did at one point in time consume an 85 times extract of Salvia. 2 hits before I blasted off. And I did it by myself, but I recorded the process because I was curious to see what would happen, because they say if you smoke Salvia that you don't move. And that was definitely the case. When I exhaled, man, let me tell you, I instantly got teleported out of my body into this extremely blue world. I went up. I didn't go down. I physically went up through a green surface, green like grass, and there was blue everywhere like the sky. And everything is just one solid color. If you see blue, it's a solid stream of blue. If you see green, it's a solid green. Colors didn't have a mixture of colors in one color. It was just one solid color for each thing. When I rose out of the green surface, I came up as this blue sphere. Kind of liquidy, kind of gaseous. And I remember looking and seeing the blue sky, the green ground, and there was this white tree that was just standing in front of me, massive, to the point where I couldn't see the very top of it. It was so tall. And that tree spoke to me in a language that I do not know what the language was, but I understood it. And basically, the tree told me that this is my new life, to enjoy this experience, that I will live a very long time and be happy here. And the next thing I know, it shoots me off of this tunnel that's just flashing purple. And when I exit the tunnel on the other side, life began for me as this little sphere. I had a family, I had a home, I had a job. And it's extremely crazy to think about, and it's hard to believe, I know, trust me, because I'm living in this reality where we don't speak a language that I've never heard before, but we understand each other. We can feel each other's emotions and presence, not just with my family, but everyone that I interacted with in this realm. You can feel the happiness emitting from everything. I was stuck in that trip for 64 years, and I'm not even kidding. It was 64 years. I was there for a very long time. One day, I'm just chilling as this little blue sphere. I accomplished a lot of things in this realm, or I accomplished a lot of things that this realm would seem like an accomplishment, if that makes any sense. It's hard to explain. But as I'm just going through my business, I get instantly teleported through this tunnel, and I'm back in front of this giant tree. And it tells me that it appreciated my time. It tells me that I was the best that I could possibly be, but now it's my time to return to my true self. And at this point, I've been in this world for so long that I forgot that I had a physical form. I forgot that. But as soon as that tree told me that it's time to go back, I remembered that I'm a person. And as soon as I remembered that, I got shot down into my body. And I came to, and I'm looking around, everything's still Salvia tripping, where you see the little weird fractals and things like that. Less than 5 minutes, I'm back to normal, and I am completely aware of what happened. I remember everything that happened, but I'm so taken aback by it. I was so emotional for leaving my family. I never got to tell them goodbye. It was really heartbreaking for me. I did not emotionally break down, and it's something that ruined my life. I think, honestly, it helped me become better in my life. For some reason, I've always had that thought in my mind that maybe when I die, that'll be the place that I go to again, and I'll get to experience that life again, you know? So it always helped me maintain a positive vibe and be motivated, even if it was just a trip and it wasn't real. To me, that felt extremely real. Now here's the kicker. Even though I was there for 64 years, that trip only lasted less than 10 minutes. I had it recorded. I watched everything. It was less than 10 minutes. And ever since then, I told myself I'll never do anything like that ever again, because it scared me. It not only scared me, but it made me, it didn't scare me to the point where I was frightened of the experience. It scared me because I don't want to go back there and have to leave it ever again. That was very depressing. Again, it didn't mentally cripple me where I was just so depressed that I couldn't live anymore, but it's extremely sad. Even talking about it now, I'm kind of sad just thinking about it because it was a great life. Sorry that was really long-winded. There's a lot more to that story that I left out as being this fear in this world, but I really could talk about this for 30 plus minutes, and I know people don't want to sit through that. So let me know in the comments if you ever have experienced anything like that, because apparently there's people that experience that while taking Salvia. And if so, please leave a comment down below letting me know how your trip went, what you experienced, because there might be something to that. There might be some kind of spiritual realm or some kind of higher realm that we escape in when we're going through these trips, but I have a feeling it's just some kind of chemical trip and none of it's real. But to me, at the time, it felt extremely real. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. As always, if you enjoyed any of these clips, links are in the description down below. And with that being said, have a good day.